Okay, welcome to the Cuyahoga County Human Resources Appointments and Equity Committee. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Ms. Turner.
Present?
Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Miller.
Here.
Ms. Conwell. Ms. Conwell is absent. Mr. Sweeney. Mr. Sweeney is absent. You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Is there any public comment?
No, Madam Chair, no one has signed in.
All right, well then I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the May 21st meeting. Can I have a second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk.
The first item is going to be taken out of order. Item 5G, Resolution 2024-0216, confirming the county executive's reappointment of various individuals to serve on the District 1 Public Works Integrating Committee for the term June 22nd, 2024 through June 21st, 2027, for the reappointments of Michael W. Dever, Nicole L. English, and reappointments as alternates, Thomas Sotak to Michael W. Dever and Christopher A. George to Nicole L. English.
Councilwoman, good morning. We have a proposed substitute for this legislation. It should hopefully be in front of you. Essentially, this proposed substitution replaces Nicole English's alternate. Instead of Christopher George, we are nominating Eric Mack as Nicole English's alternate.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to, I'll make the motion to accept the proposed substitute. Can I have a second? It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, council members. Michael Dever, Director of Public Works, along with Nicole English, the Administrator of Planning and Programming for Public Works. Thank you for having us here today for this reappointment to the DAPWIC Committee. Yeah.
So just a brief introduction on the DAPWIC committee. So there is a state infrastructure programs that this is voted on. There was a 10-year window where the funds have been available. It actually will be up for election again after this fall. So there'll be hopefully a new round of funding that will come through, and we'll continue to need this committee. But they essentially, we take applications for projects, roads, bridges, water supply, wastewater treatment, and stormwater collection. Applications come in the fall. There's a staff that works on the projects, scoring them, and then the committee votes to accept the slate that gets funded. There's approximately $30 million, $32 million in grants and loans that are given out annually. The county has 2 seats on this committee. The city of Cleveland has 2 seats. Mayors and managers have 2 seats, and there's 1 private appointment. And so the director and I are the county appointments, have been for the last many years. I currently sit as the chair of the DAPWIC, which rotates between us, Cleveland, and the Mayors and Managers Association.
And also Allison Ball is here with us also. She's with the County Planning Commission. She's the administrator of the program for District 19, which encompasses Cuyahoga County.
Okay. Just, I know you got to go, a couple quick questions. Can you talk about some of the recent projects that you've been involved with?
Yeah, so typically the county, we work internally to identify projects that will score well with DAPWIC and submit anywhere from 4 to 6 projects a year in order to try to bring in about $6 to $10 million of work. So we supplement federal aid projects so that the local share can come down. Last year's awards, we had Rockside Road Bridges, which is in Independence and Valley View, that were awarded Shaft Road Bridge replacement, Wilson Mills resurfacing. So typically every year we kind of take a look at our capital plan and decide which projects can be funded, which would score well with the DAPWIC, and we work on those applications in order to submit those. So that kind of is done by our staff team, and then they get scored by the DAPWIC staff, and we are able to confirm the slate after that. But we have good understanding of kind of what can be scored well and what gets funded.
Can you go a layer deeper and talk about how those projects are evaluated?
So there's a set of categories that it's in the application manual, and so they range from users to roadway condition, to, there's economic health score that's included based on the city that the project is in. If you have received funding in the past, you get less points if you've received funding recently. So there's a whole criteria related to health and safety. Our local match, depending on what percentage of funding that we're willing to put in versus what we're asking for, is included. There's incentive if you want to take a loan, because part of this money has to be loans. So if there's a loan incentive, that you get points if you're going to take loans. So there is a list of, gosh, about maybe 12 categories that are related to how we score the projects.
Open up to questions from my colleagues. Okay, and seeing that there are none. Okay, just double checking. So I'll make the motion to move this item to the full body of council for second reading approval under suspensions.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, did you want to hear from the alternates? Testimony from the alternates?
Why we want to hear from them? No, yes. Please come forward. I'm sorry.
We'll let them introduce themselves at least
Okay.
to you.
We'll hold off on that vote.
Brought them down from upstairs. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm sorry about that.
Perfectly fine. Good morning, members of the committee. Tom Sotek. I'm selected for one of the alternate members on behalf of Michael Dever.
Good morning, I'm Eric Mack. I'm in the planning department under Nicole.
Anything else you'd like to share since you traveled so far?
We look forward to being alternates.
Yes, thank you for the privilege. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your willingness to serve. Okay. All right. Now, I'll make the motion to move this item to the full body of council for second reading approval under suspension of the rules as substituted. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, please read the next item into the record.
We'll now return to item 5A, Resolution 2024-0154, confirming the county executive's reappointment of Dr. Barbara Gripshover to serve on the Cuyahoga Regional HIV Prevention and Care Planning Council for the term April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2027.
Morning, Madam Chair. On behalf of the county executive and pursuant to Section 6.04 of the Cuyahoga County Charter, I'm here to recommend the reappointment of Dr. Barbara Gripshover to the Cuyahoga Regional HIV Health Services Prevention, Care, and Care Planning Council to a 3-year term that started April 1st, 2024 and will end March 31st, 2027. Dr. Gripshover is unable to attend this morning due to her patient schedule. She sends her apologies, and the chair of the HIV Prevention, Care, and Planning Council Membership Committee, Billy Gayhart Jr., is here to read her statement on her behalf. And we are requesting a second reading suspension, please. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you. My name is Billy Gayhart, and I will be reading Dr. Gripshover's statement for you all. Barbara Gripshover requests for reappointment to the Cleveland TGA Ryan White Planning Council. I am the medical director of the Special Immunology Unit, SIU, at University Hospital's Cleveland Medical Center. I am an infectious disease physician, professor of medicine at Case Western Reserve University, and have been providing HIV medical care for over 30 years. I am committed to ensuring that our community has the best HIV care possible and hope to see the end of the HIV epidemic. I have been an active Planning Council member since 1997 and am actually the longest serving person on Planning Council. I also serve on the Quality Subcommittee. Our clinic gets Part A, C, and D funding, and I always acknowledge potential conflicts of interest. I also fill a federally mandated position representing a Part D program. I was also a member of the End of the Epidemic Executive Committee. I do think it is important to have a physician's voice as part of the Planning Council, so I am happy to continue to serve if selected.
Hey, thank you for that. Do you get to answer questions for her?
Oh, if you have to.
Well, let's see. Are you able to talk about what you think have been some of the greatest successes?
For the Planning Council?
Yeah.
I mentioned this before, it was our outreach. We have been doing a lot of discussions about how we can reach the community broadly and start specifically addressing needs in specific areas. We do get a lot of updates through the Ohio Department of Health as well as the Board of Health here in Cuyahoga County. And so it helps us to really pinpoint where we need to start doing more outreach and things like that. So I would say that our outreach is probably pretty big.
Okay. What about pressing issues or challenges?
Legislation. You probably have, I'm not for sure if you heard that there's a movement that we call HIV criminalization and trying to update the laws that discriminate and prosecute people that just actually have a positive status.
And this is a state law?
It's broad. There's a lot of laws out there, most of them through the state. There is a movement that is called the modernization of HIV criminalization. And they're working tirelessly to push legislation that actually doesn't hurt the HIV community.
Thank you. I learned something today. You said the modernization.
I'm not for sure if I'm going to say this right. It's the modernization movement for HIV criminalization. I might have said that wrong.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any questions for the chairman? Okay. Seeing that we have no further questions for you, thank you again for showing up on behalf of your colleague. I'll make the motion to move this to the full body of council for second reading approval under suspension of the rules. I have a second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk.
Resolution 2024-0179, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County non-bargaining classification plan.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm Albert Pushaheen with the Personnel Review Commission. Before you are recommendations that the PRC approved at their April 3rd, 2024 meeting. We are recommending the creation of one new classification that's part of the PRC initiative to reduce the number of incumbents in broadly written classifications and create new classifications that are more representative and specific as to what they do. If approved by council, there will be 4 program officer 2s at the Department of Senior Adult Services who will be reassigned by the Department of Human Resources to the Senior and Adult Benefits Program Specialist classification. The other classifications we're proposing are revisions and part of routine class maintenance. 2 of the 5 classifications did receive a 1 pay grade increase. Although the pay grade increased, all the incumbents do fall within the new recommended pay grade, so nothing you're voting on today will have a fiscal impact. Madam Chair, I'm also requesting a second reading suspension. There was an unforeseen emergency that delayed us from being on the last agenda, and I'm requesting a second reading suspension so we can get these back on track. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Boucher? Councilman Miller?
Madam Chair, Mr. Bouchonine, am I correct that there are no deletions of classifications in this resolution?
Madam Chair, the councilman, you are correct that we're not proposing any deletions at this time.
You answered all our questions in your presentations. Getting too good at this. So I'll make the motion to move this item to the full body of council for second reading approval under suspension of the rules. May I have a second? Been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution 2024-0212, confirming the county executive's appointment of Dorothy Todd to serve on the Cuyahoga County Diversion Board for an unexpired term ending February 28th, 2025.
Madam Chair, on behalf of the County Executive pursuant to Section 208.04 of the Cuyahoga County Code, I'm here to recommend the appointment of Cleveland Chief of Police Dorothy Todd to serve on the Cuyahoga County Diversion Board for an unexpired term ending February 28th, 2025. She will be replacing former Chief Wayne Drummond, and she's here to present.
Good morning.
Thank you to all the members, County Council.
Excuse me, Chief
Also
Todd,
to-
if you could just state your name for the record, please.
Yeah, I got that. I'm sorry. So my name is Dorothy Todd. I am the Chief of Police for the City of Cleveland. So I come to you today to request consideration to be appointed to the Cuyahoga County Diversion Board. As a member of the Division of Police for the last 24 years, I have seen firsthand the impact that mental health and addiction has on individuals, our community, families, hospital, jails, and law enforcement. When the Diversion Center was planning for their opening, I was a 3rd District Commander, and the Diversion Center was in my neighborhood. I met with their staff, toured their facility, and worked with them on safety measures for the participants, their staff, and the neighborhood. We had several conversations and what-if scenarios that we would talk through. After the center opened, we had bumps along the way. During those times, I would reach out to their staff, or they would contact me, and we would work through each concern. As commander, I would educate our members on the use of the center and talk to them about the challenges they faced. As chief, it is my goal to make sure that we have resources for those who face challenges with mental health and addiction. In these times, it is our duty to make sure we are providing the best resources to help our community and aid in long-term solutions. If selected for this board, I feel my experience will play a critical role in providing input on how the Diversion Center currently operates, what will be the best for sustaining the program, and law enforcement's role in making this successful. I thank you for your time, and if you have any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief Councilman Miller?
Madam Chair, to Ms. Todd, thank you very much for coming and for your willingness to serve. And my first question is that if a Cleveland police officer encounters somebody out in the field that he or she feels that would be a candidate for the diversion center, what is the protocol that's currently being used?
So through the chair to the council member, our protocol is that they go through our communication control section, and there's a call made through, I believe it's the mental health providers to see if, to talk through what the steps are, if that person is, qualifies for admittance to there. And there's also, we have a relationship where our members have actual conversations with the staff at the center itself.
And if the reports that I've received are accurate, the use of the diversion center by the Cleveland Police Department, I would describe it as uneven. And my question is, what do you think can be done to promote a more complete utilization of the diversion center in cases where it's appropriate?
So through the chair to the council member, I believe being a part of this committee would help with those conversations. I know that with our members, there are struggles that do happen. We encounter situations where someone may fall and meet that criteria, but because it's a center that they have the ability to walk right back out of, we do have challenges at points where the community gets a little upset with us for how we handle certain situations. So being a part of this board, I think we can have the ability to talk through these issues a little bit further.
So, Madam Chair, to Ms. Todd or to the administration, are there currently any representatives of the Cleveland Police Department on the Diversion Center Board?
Chief Wayne Drummond was on the board until he was promoted to his new role at the city, and so he stepped off the board, and Chief Dorothy Todd is replacing former Chief Wayne. So she will be a representative of the Cleveland Police on diversion.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Gallagher.
Hey, Chief. Welcome. There's a real psychology behind diversion, and where we put it, it goes counter to it being successful. When we build a new jail, it literally has to be within view of the new jail. If not, as you would imagine, as former police officer on the beat, you're going to drive a guy to the jail or to the door of the diversion center, give him the option. You want to go in here, we'll take cuffs off, you got to stay for X amount of days, or you're going to go over there and you're going to stay hooked up and you're going in for God knows how long. So that's the psychology behind it. So what we did was a knee-jerk reaction to get it open. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked, and it won't work unless we do it correctly. And it's not just the psychology behind it, but the people that do this for a living in our meetings with when we were talking about building the jail and the justice center, it's all there black and white, and I can provide that to you. So it's important for not just you folks that are on the committee to understand that, it's important for the people that are building it and placing it to understand that. Crystal clear. I'm not certain that's happening. I hope it's happening, and as long as I'm alive, it'll happen correctly, hopefully. So eyes wide open. When we do this, we have to do it right, and I think it can work, but right now it's not. And as well as some other things that we can do to alleviate the pressures on the jail, and actually, you know, the people in blue that are doing the job on the beat that have to make these tough decisions. You know, we're going to get them up to speed as far as can they make those decisions, because that coordination between them and the individuals that are being harassed or are concerned is important. We have to give them a feeling of safety also. So it's a very complicated thing, but it can be made a lot easier if we do it correctly. So hopefully we do it correctly as a new jail, and hopefully a new diversion center is correctly placed. So I wish you luck.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Miller.
I'd just like to state that my colleagues' description of the psychology is not the only viewpoint that's out there. And there is another school of thinking that says that the diversion center should be far away from the jail, so that people who participate in the diversion center truly have a sense of being diverted, and this is perhaps a more humane and inmate-centered view of the psychology, and I think there's probably some elements of truth both ways, but I think it can work either way. I think it can work with the diversion center where it's currently located, or if when we build the new jail, we decide to have the diversion center at the central campus, hopefully in a separate facility, but nearby, you know. I think either one can work, and it's just a matter of getting all the participants and the collaborators working together on an effective program. Thank you.
Welcome. Councilman Gallagher.
I don't go on feelings, I go on facts. And I rely on those that do this for a living to make those decisions. I sat for almost 5 years listening to this. So those are the people that I'm going to listen to. If you listen to people that just go with their feelings, there are people out there that don't want a jail. They think the jail that we have is just fine. Crazy, absolutely insane, ignorant, absolutely ignorant. And you've been in our jail, and I've been in your old jail. They're dungeons, they're horrible. So, you know, the populace that, you know, goes with their hearts, God bless them. I got to do the right thing. And the right thing is to make it work. And where it's at doesn't work. Proof's in the pudding. The only reason we expanded the use of it is because nobody was going there. Nobody. You're not going to get a patrol officer from Rocky River, Strongsville, Euclid, to go into that place. They're not going to do it. They're going to take them downtown. They're going to take them to the new jail. So you take them, you put them where the jail's at, give them the option. They're not going to drive 10, 12, 14 miles out of their way to have a guy say no at the door. They're just not going to. So if we're going to have buy-in from the police departments, we have to do it properly. And I only base my opinion on facts. And those are the facts. And I'd love to hear the opposite side of this. Because again, I think we're dealing with people that are feeling what they want to do.
The number 24, I love that number. Was born on the 24th day in February. 24 years of stellar service and leadership. You have risen through the ranks. You've seen a lot. Different philosophies, different schools. Can you talk to us about what you think some of the obstacles are? Given both my colleagues' comments, do you have your own philosophy about why we haven't had more success? And do you have any anecdotes that would, you know, make it more successful moving forward?
So to the chair, I can tell you from my experience, I hear both the concerns. I see both sides, and I agree with both sides. As when the center first opened, one of the things I found when you mentioned the suburbs bringing in participants, they did bring them in, and unfortunately, with it being a walkout policy, we found that we had people who had no understanding of the neighborhood that the center was in that were now lost in the neighborhood. So that was a concern for me when I was the commander, and I talked through the center about that. And our officers have shared concerns over the years, and, you know, they found, you know, situations where someone may have been picked up for disturbing at a certain location, taken to the center, and before the end of their shift, they were right back out getting that same call for service. So I hear the concerns, and we have to find a better way. And I'm hoping by being on this board that we can find a better way. Because I think that there still are some challenges ahead, and I think changes do need to be made.
Okay. Any further questions? Councilman Miller?
I find that Chief Todd brings a wealth of real-world experience and supports the diversion center concept, but also is going to use your experience to make positive changes. And I'm enthusiastic about your nomination, and I'd like to have my name added, please.
Okay, please add the councilman's name as well as my own. Okay. Add your name. Councilman Gallagher as well.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
And I'll make a motion to move resolution 2024-010212 to the full council with recommendation for second reading suspension.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Chief, thank you for your service. We look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time today.
You're welcome. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Resolution 2024-0213, confirming the county executive's appointment of Bianca Crawford to serve on the Division of Children and Family Services Advisory Board for the term March 1st, 2023 through February 28th, 2027.
Madam Chair, pursuant to Section 205.10 of the Cuyahoga County Code, I'm here to recommend the appointment of Bianca Crawford to the DCFS Advisory Board for a term that started on March 1st, 2023, and will end February 28th, 2027. She will be replacing Natasha Davis, and we are asking for a second reading suspension. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Bianca Crawford, and I bring greetings to the chair and the board this morning. Thank you for having me. I am super excited to be nominated to the Division of Children and Family Services Advisory Board. As a dedicated advocate for children and families, I believe that I can make a valuable contribution to the board as its important work. Through my own professional and personal experience, I've developed a deep understanding of challenges that's faced by children and families in our community. I've witnessed the impact of neglect, abuse, and instability on the lives of young individuals, and it has fueled my passion to make a difference in their lives. As the executive director of Motivated and Empowered, Inc., who has been serving the Cleveland and Cuyahoga community for 13 years, to being a child born and a part of the Children and Family Services program coming up, I understand that there are some things that I can contribute. One being an expert in my expertise in child welfare, with a background in social work as well as being a former correction officer and a strong understanding of child welfare policies and practices. I can offer a valuable insight and perspective on the issues facing our children and families. I'm well versed in the legal and ethical considerations involved in child protection, and I'm committed to ensuring the safety and well-being of every child. I also bring advocacy for family support. I firmly believe in the importance of providing families with the necessary support to maintain a safe and nurturing environment to the children. And I also bring collaboration and partnership. I recognize the critical role that collaboration plays in achieving positive outcomes for children and families. I'm skilled in building strong partnerships with community organizations, government agencies, and stakeholders to ensure a coordinated and comprehensive approach to services delivery. By working together, we can leverage resources, share expertise, and create lasting changes. Being a member of the Division of Children and Family Services Advisory Board is critical because it provides an opportunity to influence policies, shape programs, and advocate for the well-being of our children and our families in our community. This board serves as a voice for those who are often unheard and plays a vital role in shaping the future of our children for tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. And I was so happy to see you this morning. I want to thank you for all that you were doing across our community. And was wondering if you could talk to us about some of the obstacles that you think we have in protecting children and families.
Yes, absolutely. I think that some of the issues that we are facing right now in our community is intervention and pre-intervention before we get too far with our children. A lot of times there are circumstances that can be prevented to make a change before our children get too far gone, and we don't have those intervention steps in place firsthand. I also believe that our community is rich in the services that we provide, but there's a lack of understanding where to go to get those services. So I believe that if we can help the families understand and communicate with the partners, then we can see a different service development done for those. And I also feel that there is sometimes a disconnection of understanding the reality of what home may look like when they get from us, right? So if we go home and we see things a little differently for them, when they get here, we're not seeing their reality. Home looks different, and we're not hearing that, and we're not seeing that.
Questions for Councilman Miller?
Madam Chair, Ms. Crawford, how many of the youth that you work with at Motivated and Empowered are involved with DCFS, and if there are some, how much contact does your agency have with DCFS, and what kind of collaboration do you do?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Councilman and Chairman. We work with about 75% of our children who are part of the agency. And in that, what we do is our collaboration looks like being able to support them in mental health services, socio-emotional awareness, how to deal with the transition they may be dealing with, as also providing resources such as basic needs, hygiene, teen parents. We also offer them services to make sure that they have homes. We make sure that they have clothing, their children have milk and diapers. So we try to make sure that we can be a part of that, but we also serve in the human trafficking, sex trafficking, because a lot of those children find themselves a part of that when they become a part of the system. So we try to make sure we can give them permittive measures to come out of that, and also a safe place to come so that they can get out of that situation.
And Madam Chair, to Ms. Crawford, how is your agency funded, and do the youth that receive services, do their families pay for part of the cost, or is it free?
We are funded through grants and sponsorship, as well as our CEO and founder, which is myself. And we do not ask for our families to pay for their services, because when you're serving kids and you're serving families who are in need, money should be no object. Obviously, they don't have the money to pay for certain things. That's why they're in the situations that they're in. So we try our best to make sure that we have services covered so that they don't have to be turned away from us and not being able to be served.
And how many youth are generally served at any one time?
We service about 2,500 youth a year, and we service 36 schools in Cuyahoga County.
Ms. Crawford, you seem like a old soul and a very young woman. I think in your introduction, you may have alluded to the fact that you yourself had some involvement in the system. I learned more about your story about a month or so ago when I attended your empowerment conference for young women, which was so amazing. And I was also able to support your organization through some ARPA dollars. So can you talk to us a little bit about how your involvement in the system shaped you? I mean, because you're before us serving the community. So talk to us a little bit about your story and what drives you to do this work.
Absolutely. Madam Chair, I was born to a teen mom at 15 years old. And my first memory of being homeless was at 5. At 7 years old, that is when DCS entered into our life. At 8 years old, I was then put into custody and my grandmother took over care of me. At 9, I was then transferred from the city of Cleveland to my aunt in Baltimore, Maryland, where I was abused and brought back home to the city of Cleveland to my grandmother. I then found myself immersing myself into school. School was my outlet. School was my place of refuge. So I was a straight-A student. I played in all of the sports and then served on as many different facilities and groups I can be in. At 15, my mom took back custody over me. I was then abused severely and ended up having a ward of the state and a guardian ad litem. I found myself in juvenile court facing a 7-year sentence, and nobody knew that only reason I was running away from home was because I was being abused. I had an amazing judge, Peter Secor, who was able to come down and say he saw my potential, and he began the emancipation process for me at 16 years old. I've been on my own at 16. I graduated high school a year early at 17 from Bedford High School. I was accepted into 22 colleges and universities, and I went to Kent State with no scholarship, no grants, but I paid out of pocket for me to obtain my degree. I now have 4 degrees, 2 undergrads, a bachelor's as well, and a master's in family services and human services.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I want to thank you for what you do for our youth. You're an amazing young lady and role model, and we couldn't be more grateful for you offering yourself in service. So we look forward to seeing more from you. You're still just getting started because you're just a baby. But if there are no further questions from my colleagues, I'll make the motion to move this item to the full body of council for second reading approval under suspension of the rules. Can I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you so much.
Chair,
Yes.
I'd like my name added to the.
Please add Councilman Miller's name as well as my own. Okay. All right, thank you.
Next item, Resolution 2024-0214 is being held. Resolution 2024-0215, confirming the county executive's reappointment of Verna Darby to serve on the Division of Children and Family Services Advisory Board for the term March 1st, 2023 through February 28, 2027.
Madam Chair, pursuant to Section 205.10 of the Cuyahoga County Code, I'm here to recommend the reappointment of Vern Darby to the DCFS Advisory Board for a term that started March 1st, 2023 and will end February 28th, 2027. She is here to present this morning, and we are requesting a second reading suspension. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Madam Chair and Councilperson. Me and microphones. Good morning. I am the Family Advancement Manager at Birth and Beautiful Communities.
Just state your name for the record.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
Verna Darby, Verna D. Darby. I'm the Family Advancement Manager of Birth and Beautiful Communities and the co-founder of Birth and Beautiful Communities. I am a doula. I've been a doula for over 20 years. I have a heart for assisting moms and children and providing them guidance during their birth journey, their pregnancy and birth journey. Many of the parents have little or no support, and that's why a lot of times they do come to us. I want to be that trusting and faithful advocate for them, and them not being punished for having children and not being able to provide for them and to improve their family status. A little bit about me, I am a mother of 4 adult children. I have a very strong passion for this. I am a foster and adoptive parent. I come from a line of, my mom and dad was foster adoptive parents. And so I'm very versed on the knowledge of how the system works and how to get the families to just, forgive me, I'm a little nervous, to get the families to just be families, because that's what we found that our our families are looking for, our moms that come to us.
Thank you. You don't have to be nervous. It's
Yeah.
always a safe place for you.
Thank you.
Besides that, we're nice.
Yeah.
You're nice.
Thank you for your willingness to serve, and thank you for sharing your story and your reasons why. Can you tell even the listening audience what is a doula?
A doula is a birth coach, so a professional birth coach. So with our program, we are there during their pregnancy, and we're there the whole duration of labor and delivery. We provide them, we do birth plans, we provide them with different breathing techniques, comfort measures, so they can have a safe and healthy birth.
Okay, and you mentioned, making sure that the women don't feel like they're being punished.
Yes.
For having children.
We
Talk a little more
advocate
about
strong for them. So some of the moms in our system, some of the moms in our program, they do have cases and they get pregnant again and they run or they want to hide. Like, I don't want to let me have my baby at home, so they don't take my baby. So we advocate for them by teaching them parenting skills and, showing them kind of a better direction to go in. And some of them they feel like they're being punished, like they're scared. They get, they get pregnant again. After they have a baby in the system. And a lot of them don't understand, like, why did they take my baby? What did I do wrong? And so with us, we try to help them. We walk with them. Before COVID, we would come down, 5 or 6 of us, when they would have a case, to go to court with them, to get them to understand, to be there with them, to understand the legal jargon of whatever their cases are. One of our very first case was one of our moms. She had, this was her 10th baby. Other children were already in the system. And we worked with her so strongly that she was able to keep her baby. I think her baby now is 7 years old. She's really turned things around. We have so many success stories with moms that we worked with, teaching them parenting skills, teaching them how to just be a better parent, a better family, mom and dad. And we've had moms that say once they have come and we've taught them, they said, I had one mom say, you know what, I don't think I'm gonna be a good mom. Help me to help my children. And so we do that also.
So you're doing this work already every day with BBB. Can you think of any ways in which your participation on this board would help with the preventative work and what we can do to try to prevent children from going into the system?
Yes, parenting skills, and I'm so old school. I come from a village. When I say a village, the neighbors, you had that Miss Jones saying, wrap the baby up. Let me show you how to teach them to pick up toys. Let me show you how to make a meal. Let me show you how to put them to bed on time. Things like that. So we teach them parenting skills when they come in, and we realize that they don't know and that they're scared and they don't know the direction they're going in. When they, come to us pregnant and they have the baby and they're just fearful, and they may not even have a case, but we don't want them to get a case. So we see them going in the direction like, come on, let me help you. Come to class. So we have classes. We've been Birthing Beautiful Community's been in existence for 10 years now, since 2014. And we've had a lot of success stories with parents that have had cases.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Darby? Okay. Well, thank you for your service. We look forward to having you back on the board. And with that, I will make the motion to move this item to the full council for second reading and approve under suspension of the rules. May I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Madam Chair, please add my name.
Please add Councilman Miller's name as well as my own.
Resolution 2024-0217, confirming the county executive's appointment of Gina Vernacci to serve on the Cuyahoga Arts and Culture Board of Trustees for an unexpired term ending March 31st, 2025.
Madam Chair, on behalf of the county executive and pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 3381, I'm here to recommend the appointment of Gina Vernacci to serve on the Cuyahoga Arts and Culture Board of Trustees for an unexpired term that will end March 31st, 2025. Ms. Vernacci will be replacing Nancy Mendez. We are requesting a second reading suspension, and she is here to present.
Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the County Council and this committee. I'm honored to be here with you today and to be nominated, appointed by the County Executive to serve on the board for Cuyahoga Arts and Culture.
And just state your name for the record.
And yes, thank you very much. My name is Gina Vernacci. It is an industry that I have been a part of for 44 years, and I feel that I bring a wide scope of experience, both personally and professionally, on what the arts can do for a person and what the arts can do for a community as well. I grew up in Missouri in a rural environment of very modest means and found my way into the arts. I had an undergraduate degree in studio art, a certificate in welding from a community college, a master's degree in urban studies, and an honorary doctorate from Baldwin Wallace University. And I feel the combination of all of that from an educational perspective has helped me think about the artist, what it means to work, and work hard. And to think about my studies in urban studies, about how you think about the entire city and the entire community, the region, when you think about what it is that you do. The programs that we had at Playhouse Square were really wonderful because they have served such a wide variety of audiences and constituents. At Playhouse Square, I began as an intern in 1984, and my final position as president and CEO was my 8th position at Playhouse Square. So I also understand what it means to be a distance runner and to keep your view on the horizon. The programs that we have had that make me very proud at Playhouse Square is one of which is Disney Musicals in Schools, which was when we each year selected 4 schools where 50% or more of the enrollment was below the poverty level, and they had no arts programming, and we would give them the support to produce a musical and then come to Playhouse Square and perform that on our stages. And the stories and to be backstage with those children was one of the most rewarding days of my career. That, and I think also about another program we started called Smart Seats, which was, you would stand there and I would look up at all these seats, and I would think every night, who is sitting in these seats and where they're sitting is actually a microcosm of our community. People are sitting where they can be according to the experience they want or the experience they can afford, but there are a lot of empty seats. So we created a program where the seats were $10, and over the years we have sold hundreds of thousands of seats to people to come and enjoy the very best of touring entertainment and locally produced entertainment available. That's just an example. It has been a rewarding career. It is rewarding to see how, like I said, there's nothing better than looking into the eyes of our children and seeing what the arts do for them. And also I look at the built facility of Playhouse Square for something that was almost a parking lot 40 years ago, and today it is the largest center in America outside of New York City. Impressive stories, whether you're talking about the center or the human, about what the arts do for us. So I'm honored to be considered and honored to serve.
Thank you. Thank you for your service over all the years. I get choked up when I think about some of the experiences that I had as a young girl attending live theater productions. And, I wanted to be on Broadway at one point, but yeah, don't quite have it, the chops for that. But as you are aware, the County Council recently voted to put the arts levy on the ballot for this November. What are your thoughts on ensuring adequate ongoing funding for the arts? Is the current formula sustainable?
Sustainable over the long haul? No. It's a proper start to get us to build on what we have, to take us forward so that we can examine what we need to take this community, which is so culturally diverse and culturally significant, not only here but internationally. How do we take this forward? And I think with this support, that will provide the bedrock for us to continue to build on that, but certainly to think about what are the options, and perhaps even think about what is the actual need of this region. Is that enough? Even in today's dollars, when this passes, is that enough, or are we underfunding something that actually could be so much greater for our community?
Diversity is the value of this county and this county executive. And when we look at diversity and funding various art organizations in the county, it's important. The Arts District has funded over 300 organizations across the county. How do you propose to ensure that the Arts District continues this and exceed it, improve it?
Well, I think it's important that we listen and that we hear what our community is telling us, what their priorities are, because we are here to serve our community. It's not for us to imagine it, it's for us to understand what the residents of our great county are looking for and how we best serve them. And we have a board who are here to oversee, to be stewards of this money, and a very well-tenured staff and executive leaders with Jill Paulson to think about how we look at this and take it forward together in a collaborative nature. What I bring to the table is the benefit also of, though I studied studio art, the benefit of the performing arts, because it is a collaborative process where you have to have a lot of voices and a lot of different opinions in order to make it work.
Thank you. Questions, Councilman Gallagher?
You're certified in welding?
I am. Do you have anything you need repaired?
No, that my dad, since I can remember from childhood, my dad's like, if you can weld, you can go anywhere. I told my kids that. They didn't listen. I didn't listen. I just think that's just such a skill. Fantastic. So it perked me up. But back to when the Playhouse Square was saved, thank God for Cuyahoga County. Cleveland had issued the permits to knock it down. So I don't know, I don't recall what commissioners were there, but we have them to thank for those being preserved, so.
Yes, those commissioners, George Voinovich, of course, was very instrumental in the saving of Playhouse Square. And it was also, there were so many stories of people who were just doing their jobs, who loved the theaters and decided they had the power to do something to take it the extra step. We are truly the sum of our parts.
I don't think people realize how close, I mean, there's a, I don't know, Plain Dealer or Press, but there was a picture of the wrecking ball literally on Euclid Avenue, and they called it off. So again, for whomever those commissioners were, we have a lot to thank. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, now I got one more question. And then we're trying to wait for Councilman Miller to finish his call. But how are we doing post-pandemic?
The we being the we in the arts. The struggle is far from over, quite honestly. We are certainly doing better. We are not back to where we were in March 1st of 2020, where things were going, quite well. I can speak to the fact that on March the 2nd of 2020, I announced that we had the largest subscription base in North America, and 10 days later, we were out of business. So it was a dramatic freefall, not just for our organizations, but for artists and musicians and actors and everyone. So there is still a mighty struggle afoot to gain ground, to regain your spirit, to see the horizon. The emotional repair of the effects of COVID will take a while for us all to recover. And financially, there are many organizations, not just here in this county, but even across the country, are still struggling to find an audience.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Okay. Well, while we have the councilman, I will make the motion to move this item to the full body of council for second reading approval under suspension of the rules. Can I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you for your willingness to serve.
Great, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Okay, is there any miscellaneous business? Okay, seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.
Meredith?
Yes, sir.